that where you're at in your challenges right now is actually the product of all the healing and awareness that you've gone through. And even if you're just starting this journey and you've just started to dig your feet or dip your feet into the pond that is all things personal development and spiritual energy work, understand that sometimes that's all it takes is just dipping a toe in. Welcome to the Rylee June Show. I'm your host, Rylee June, international intuition coach and spiritual activator. This podcast is designed for the souls who are ready to dive into what spirituality, consciousness, and healing truly is like. Here you will find the conversations and insight most spiritual teachers aren't willing to have. Why? Because we pull back the curtain on what truly takes place as you move through your healing journey, the duality of the light and the dark, and the role ethics and integrity undeniably play in your ascension experience. I have had the pleasure of working with tens of thousands of people, from clients, stories shared through messenger chats, and others in the industry to know exactly what this journey will look like for you. These episodes will share conversations of industry leaders bridging the gap to the new paradigm of reality, and individuals sharing their heart through their soul's journey they've been through and what they've learned along the way. So if you're ready to go deep, unlock truth, and activate into the blueprint of you, this is going to be a space you're not going to want to miss out every Monday. Are you ready? Let's activate. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another session. And if this is the first time that you are joining me here on the Rylee June Show, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to this episode today. It is very likely, as usual, not by or at a lack of coincidence, that you are coming across this episode today. Today, we're going to be diving into all things having the feeling of feeling unloved, what that looks like. How can you even identify if that is the core energetic issue taking place behind the scenes of all the things that you're challenged by in your life right now? We're going to dig into all of this. So first and foremost, I want to give you a bit of an update. Just taking a couple minutes. I feel like I really love that you guys reach out and you're like, oh, it's so nice hearing about what's going on behind the scenes. And so I'll take a couple minutes and just give you a bit of an update into all the things happening right now. So last week, I think it was, we talked about this potential lawsuit that had come to light. And so that has been really interesting. There's so many different potential timeline outcomes, from getting millions out of it to getting like $1,300 out of it. And the whole thing about this is that it's not even about the money. It's more so this really incredible opportunity to just truly see that everything you go through in life, it comes with retribution. You really just have to be willing for that to take place and be open for it. So we found out that we were opted into it no matter what. There really wasn't anything we needed to do. They just pooled, whoever's running the class action lawsuit is just pooling everybody's information that had surgery from 2010 to 2017, which is really cool. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And, you know, it could be lots, it could be nothing. It could still be years before it's even resolved. But yeah, it was just a really interesting moment to see that everything you go through has its consequences, but that doesn't necessarily mean they have to be negative consequences. They were at the time. I'm sure my husband did not enjoy going through all the surgeries and the pain and the emotional conflicts of it and the PTSD and all of it. And again, even if there's $0 that we get on the other side of this for this experience that he went through, it's just really cool to see that truly everything gets taken care of. Because at the end of the day, a lot of his complications were stemmed from this machine. That is why there is this class action lawsuit. The machine that cools and heats the blood when you're getting heart surgery is the thing that was passing this bacteria into the patients and the clients. So because of that, Phil went on to have a multitude of other issues and will for life. And so at the end of the day, the retribution is even just getting that product off the market so that other people don't have to endure that as well. Another thing, super fun, that has been taking place, we have decided to go forward with a bunch of like renovation updates. So we've been painting. It started with, we were going to paint our daughter's room because she's in the basement. She's 10 and she doesn't like feeling lonely down there. So we really wanted to make a beautiful space that's just hers, that's tailored to her, that's fun, that's creative, that's artistic, just like her. So we went out and we got all the paint and all the things to set up her room so that it's just what she loves, and she's loving it. We did purple for a feature wall. And then I clued in, why are we waiting to do all the other things that I want to do? So we have been painting our living room. And when I say we, I mostly mean my husband. He's like, you shouldn't paint because you are pregnant. And I was like, sure, but I also shouldn't change the cat box, and you have lung and heart issues, so you shouldn't be painting either. Let's, just open some windows. So we are putting together a coffee bar. We have our final coat going on our blue walls, which is so much fun. And then I have projects for him to build some tables and stuff for decoration. And I can't wait to go to Winners and get all the things to set it up. So we're doing that. And then next is our bedroom and setting up the baby wall. We're going to have the crib in our room for the first little while. We're really back and forth between having it in our room or just putting it in the room with Philip and Clara, because that's what we had originally done when Clara was born. Charlotte and Philip were in the same room. We would just put the crib in there. But I don't know. We'll see. We have lots of things, lots of changes, but I'm super excited because we're really making this home even more so ours than it was before. And there was originally, and right now still is, this super ugly yellow color in the hallway. And I really am someone who dislikes yellow walls. I just never have saw a place for it. If you're someone who loves yellow walls, I commend you. It's just definitely not my color. So I'm excited to get rid of all the yellow and go with neutrals. This is the boldest blue color I've ever put on my walls before, which is exciting, but I'm feeling this space in my life where there's a boldness required. So we're upgrading. We're making our environment match our energy, which is super fun. So that's some of the things that are going on behind the scenes. So we just closed out the Destiny Moment program, which was an absolute joy to create, period, and to talk about. And now to teach. Today, as I'm recording this, I have finished doing week 1 of the training with the women live, and it was so powerful, and actually so perfectly it segues into what we're going to be talking about today. So today is the topic of feeling unloved. How do you know if at the core of the challenges of the wounds that you face today, it is due to the feeling of being unloved? So last week, we talked about the feeling of being unheard. Now, this one's a little bit more obvious because if you're, not getting attention that you feel like you deserve, or people just aren't communicating with you, or you're lacking the communication with others, or you just constantly feel like you're talking to a wall, that one's a little bit more easier to identify. Having a core wound surrounding feeling unloved is one that I find a lot of people really struggle with to understand. And the biggest component behind it is because this really goes into your 4 main inner child wounds: rejection, neglect, guilt and shame, and abandonment. Though these can carry different waves in even feeling unheard or feeling like you are lost or having a fear of failure, the way that these 4 wounds can show up in the feeling of being unloved really holds people back in terms of clarity around decision making as well as confidence. So the biggest one is, if you're someone who struggles with confidence, you likely have core inner child wounds that stem from a feeling of being unloved. Now, having the feeling of being unloved, we often think, especially if you're someone who maybe similar to me grew up in a relatively normal household, your parents went to work, you went to school, you had babysitters to take care of you, your parents worked really hard. Maybe you didn't always have the best of food, but there was always a meal in front of you. You always had a lunch made. You had gifts at Christmas and birthdays, and your parents did what they could on the in-betweens, extracurricular activities, all the things. So you had a childhood life, those words, that was relatively normal, or it seemed really great. There wasn't any trauma. There wasn't any abandonment. There wasn't any neglect. There wasn't any rejection. There wasn't any guilt or shame that was constantly placed on you. Something that we fail to understand, especially the more that we get into personal and spiritual development, this really comes out of us. What we fail to understand is that it doesn't always have to be this direct experience that happened to you for it to cause or curate a wound within us. So what do I mean by that? This could be or have been a time in your life where you had a special blankie or bunny or pillow, and it was left at grandma's house. And your parents, for however long the drive was, decided no, we're not going back there. We're not going to get it. I'll pick it up tomorrow or the next day when we go see them. But it's so out of the way. I'm just not turning around. And you will feel a sense of neglect because you had that special item that carried a special value that helped you cope and feel safe. And now you no longer have that. That's been taken away from you. And no, of course, it's not your parents' or your grandparents' intention to keep you away from this special item. Intrinsically, as a child, you will unconsciously start to build this belief that you're unworthy of your special things, of that feeling of security. Feeling unloved, aside from the outward experience of lacking confidence or the inability to make clear decisions, typically comes from a sense of lack of security. This could even be if you got a letter in the mail that said you couldn't or was not accepted to something, or if you were the last person picked on a team, or if you constantly watched your mom or your dad as you were growing up always pick themselves apart. Oh, I'm fat, or this doesn't look good enough, or I'm just going to make do with what I've got. Saying these types of things out loud, you're going to pick up their sense of guilt or shame, whether it's guilt and shame that they're carrying based on money to not be able to go and get the things they want or not feeling good enough for themselves. You as a child adopt those same wounds as if energetically to say, I know you're hurting, so let me hurt too and hope to alleviate the burden. Children aren't consciously thinking this. Oh, my parents hurting, let me take on their wounds. Energetically, this is what we do. This is what we do. And from the ages of 0 to 7, we build the foundational core components of our personality traits, our characteristics, our beliefs, our ideologies, our habits, our reactions, based on what we experience and pick up from our external environment. And so this feeling of being unloved really comes from these core inner child wounds, ultimately surrounding lack of security. So as you're moving about your life, this could be a belief that you don't believe that you are worthy of deep, quality, connected relationships. This could be a belief that you're not worthy of losing the weight, though you deeply desire to. This could be a belief surrounding not feeling worthy of your Prince Charming or your princess or your fairy tale story. This could be in a belief that looks like, I don't feel worthy of the raise, the job title. I'm not good enough to get that position. They'll never pick me. Do you see how there's a similar theme coming out from your potential past experiences? If we're not aware of what's going on in our moment, of being present in our lives, of understanding how our past is influencing our present, we are running on autopilot. And what's really amazing about even just the training that I did this morning in the Destiny Moment program is that something that came through so clearly was this. The challenges that you faced right now, or you're facing right now, are the last stage of manifestation. What do I mean by that? Somewhere in your past, somewhere along the path that you have walked in your life, You curated, picked up, adopted, or experienced beliefs, ideologies, habits, something from someone or somewhere, or maybe even formulated from yourself, that built up this momentum to get you to this challenge, this physical challenge of where you are today, to help you to get to the other side of that desired experience. So if you desire more confidence within yourself, you're likely lacking a sense of feeling loved and secured within your relationships, but ultimately within yourself right now. So that could show up as feeling uncomfortable in your skin or uncomfortable in your clothes or never good enough. Somewhere in your past, you could have picked up that you don't get to be accepted or that things don't work out for you. And right now, you're facing not liking the job position that you're in or not feeling worthy of taking the risk or the leap forward and making different decisions or changing your mind. Everything we experience in the physical is the last stage of manifestation. In order for it to become a physical experience that we can touch, hear, taste, smell, feel, and see, it has to start as a frequency that formulates an ideology, that formulates a vibration, that formulates a molecular structure that brings everything together. It pulls from all over the universe to put it into this physical matter, this physical structure that is now the experience that you're facing, this challenge. So if you look at it from that perspective, it really just means that whatever you're challenged by right now, you're at the tipping point. You're at the threshold. You're about to break through. You finally got yourself to the point of being able to overcome this. And it's just physically present in your life right now so that you can change the story, shift into a space of security, heal the emotional imprint from your past that curated this experience for you today. And I really, truly believe that everything in our life happens for a reason. I used to believe that challenges were burdens that just had to happen, that were experienced from making wrong decisions. But what I'm learning and what I understand to be true now is that challenges you face are no more than the manifestation of something that is at its final stage of healing. What a difference that energy holds around those two dynamics. One is rooted in, I made wrong decisions and now this is my consequence. And one is rooted in, I've done so much work around this that I finally am about to overcome it. If you're lacking momentum and drive, this perspective shift alone is going to open up your heart, mind, and energy. And how this relates to the feeling of being unloved is that in that lack of confidence or ability to have clarity in decisions, with this perspective shift, it really shows you that you've been loved this whole time, that God has had your back this whole time, that somewhere along the way you'd come across different things that you would desire, people, places, or experiences, and you needed to be able to go through it all to get to this point, to be able to break through, to actually have it. You're almost there. It's already here for you. How incredible is that? So I really invite you to sit with this today. I really invite you to take this in and digest this, that where you're at in your challenges right now is actually the product of all the healing and awareness that you've gone through. And even if you're just starting this journey and you've just started to dig your feet or dip your feet into the pond that is all things personal development and spiritual energy work, understand that sometimes that's all it takes is just dipping a toe in. Believe it or not, healing doesn't have to be these full immersions of deep inner shadow work and going back to the trauma of your past. And honestly, I really believe that no matter how dark your trauma or your past may be, you still don't necessarily have to go back into revisiting it. We have some visitors coming over, so if you're hearing all the noise in the background, welcome to Family Life on Sundays. My daughter is super excited because her cousins are here. But I'm going to leave you with this message because this is so important. Your ability to radically change your life comes from the people you surround yourself with and the quality of your perception, the quality of the questions you ask yourself. So if in fact you shift this challenge you're faced with, this experience, to viewing it through the lens of understanding that you're at the final stage of that healing journey, or that versus this being the burden of wrong decisions, how much more effortless and light does that feel in your body? Because for me, that took a whole load off. When I watched the women in the Destiny Moment program listen to this message today, I watched all of their shoulders drop and smiles hit their face, and this aha moment of understanding that it is so much better than they thought. It doesn't make the challenge they're facing all of a sudden just completely go away and there's no emotions attached to it and there's no challenge. But it made it so much more easier in their mind to conceptualize that there's actually a door out, that there really is a light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what I want for you to take away from this today. So good. So good. So if you are someone seeking deeper support, community, and a place where you can heal and expand more into your perception and your energy, the Expander membership is a wonderful place where you can come for a month-to-month commitment of $33 a month. And you can deep dive into monthly coaching. We do monthly group coaching, weekly meditations to formulate better habits, and really open your mind up into a wider perspective of your life, as well as guest trainings or trainings done with me every month. So you get support, you get community, you get habit reshifting and rewiring, and you get a training to further your understanding of all things energy. With that, because there's always more, you get access to the membership portal. No matter what you face, no matter what challenge you may come across in your life, there is a training for that. There is over 50 hours of trainings for you to access through the portal. So if it's educational purposes, you want to learn more about energy, intuition, quantum healing, there's trainings for that. If you're challenged with money or relationships or confidence, there's individual trainings for that. The portal is a resource tool for you to be able to access the information that you need no matter what you are faced with, truly. And with the live coaching and trainings and community element, you truly get the ultimate supportive experience and expansion. So the link will be in the show notes. You can check that out. And I truly hope to see you there. If you loved this episode today, I would love to hear your feedback. Please reach out. Let me know your takeaway. And I'm sending you all so much love. Before you go, I would love and appreciate so much if you could take a moment of your time to leave a 5-star review. It helps me to be able to get this message out to so many more in the world, and I am so truly thankful that you choose this place to be every single week. Until next time, don't forget to find the magic in today.